Hi, I'm Paul Young, and I'm in a band called Los Pacaminos. We're in our 30th year this year, and we're recording an album of songs that we've written. I don't think we're doing any covers. Songs that we've written.
Okay. What does Los Pacaminos mean?
Absolutely nothing. We fooled around with a few names, and then we kind of like this one because it sounds like packing a crowd in. So we packed them in, and then we added Os at the end, and there you have it. And then a lot of
Okay.
people think it sounds Mexican, and actually a friend of mine from Argentina said there's a similar word that is for a street urchin or a street dweller. I thought, yeah, that suits us.
I was just going to say, did you check that it doesn't mean something rude in Spanish?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. So 30 years is a long time. I guess 30 years ago there wasn't a lot of sort of Mexican style influence in this
No,
country. Is that right?
that's right. Yeah, but one of my favourite artists is Ry Cooder, and he went through a period in the late '70s, mid '70s to late '70s, where he brought in some Mexican musicians into the lineup he already had. Now he'd got Bobby King and Terry Evans and Willie Green Jr., and they sang really soulful stuff. But then he brought in underneath all that this a Mexican drummer, a guy who played a guitar called a bajo sexto, which I've learned how to play. Not as good as them, probably. And Flaco Jimenez on accordion. And I really like the juxtaposition of that against the R&B soul sound of the singers. There is also the connection that if you look at rock and roll and soul, like if you go back to the Drifters and the Coasters and all things like that, and all the people in the Brill building that wrote a lot of those hits, like Under the Boardwalk and Stand By Me and all things like that, there's an underlining Latino rhythm that's going underneath all of those songs. Spanish Harlem, there's loads of songs that Lieber and Stoller wrote and all that kind of thing. So it was always there because the black community was living close to the Hispanic community in New York, and it just all crossed over. So, to me, it's a blurred line, but people think it's so different, and I don't really see it that way.
Okay, that's really interesting. It, do you describe yourself as Tex-Mex music, or am I wrong with
Yeah,
that?
well, we started off as Tex-Mex, but it's very difficult to keep to that genre if you live in South London or south of England. So maybe if we lived in Texas, we'd have been able to keep that originality. But when we first started, I was very hot on everyone about this is what it's got to sound like. But as the band's gone on, it's like the Beatles started off doing covers until they found their own identity. And so that's what we're doing. We will go. I'm fighting to go back to Tex-Mex a little bit on this next album.
Is there something distinctive about Tex-Mex then that might make it different from where you've progressed to today?
Yeah, where we progress through today is the songs are a little bit more complex. Tex-Mex music is pretty basic, three chord tricks and things like that. Woolly Bully by Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs, the Sir Douglas Quintet, She's About a Mover, all things like that, And I've actually borrowed heavily from She's About a Mover for a song that I'm doing on the next album. So that's what I try to get back to. I said that's what separates us from every other Americana act. Is that we are, if we keep that Tex-Mex in there, that's something that not many other people do. They'll all edge into country a bit, and we drift in there as well. But what sets us apart is that.